What up? Coming to you from Swan's Nest, June 2nd. First video in a series of What the Fuck is Yoga? Yoga is realization that we are not separate from that which we call God. The divine, Holy Spirit, Atman, soul, universe, whatever the word is. That's yoga. Yoga means union. It means union with the divine. That's what it is. Everything else is part of the process to get there. But that's what the practice of yoga and the intention of yoga is. Now, I'm not enlightened. I'm not acting like I know, everything. But that's what yoga is. And that's the goal, the ultimate goal. And that's why we practice. And that's why we do these things, because we start to understand that we are on an evolutionary path from a certain state of consciousness to higher levels of consciousness. And that is life, and that is growth, and that is evolution. And it's not just, oh shit, now I'm yoga and now I know that this is what yoga is and now I'm just happy and joyful the whole time. No, quite the opposite. We come to yoga because we're suffering. We come because we have low self-esteem, and we have pain, and we have trauma, and we have shame, and we have confusion, and we have doubt, and we're human, because that's what it is to be human, to live in those things, with those things. And we have past things in our psyches and in our bodies that are stored there, past hurt, past trauma, and we can't think our way out of it. Just thinking and intellectualizing the things helps to give us consciousness of it and awareness of it, but it doesn't fix it. What we need are things like movement and breathing and somatic practices, and in my case, psychedelics have been incredibly beneficial to my healing and spiritual journey. And the idea is that our bodies are vessels of consciousness, and we store energy in them, and we have energy chakras, main centers of energy, and there's a flow of energy that is trying to flow through us, and the more blockages we have, the more that energy is repressed. And as we start to heal ourselves and heal our blockages, that energy can flow more freely, and then we feel happier and more joyful and more connected to the source of that energy, and we are more creative and more expressive and all the good things. And so, I think there's a lot out in the yoga world right now where it's like fluffy rainbows and unicorns and like love and light and all these videos of people doing these really strenuous physical poses and dripping with sweat and all that shit. And that's the beauty of yoga, is there is no one yoga. Nobody owns yoga. There's no one way to do it. There's no fucking authority on it. We can have differences of opinions of schools of thought and what people are doing in practices and whether or not someone is authentic or not. But if we get caught up in that, then it's just a battle. If I say someone else isn't authentic, they're just gonna be like, well, I'm not authentic, right? And so I'm not interested in that stuff. I'm not interested in judging others or, saying who's right or wrong or all this stuff. Like, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in telling the truth about my journey and my story, and having people come here that want to practice their own practice and enhance their lives. And so here at the Swan Club, first of all, everyone is welcome. Whoever wants to practice yoga, you are welcome here. And you can come for whatever reason you're coming for. But, my experience and my story is like, come here because you're human. Bring your fucking shame, bring your low self-esteem, bring your low self-worth, bring all the stories inside of you that you can't tell anyone. The pain and the sadness and the heartbreak and the shit we get from our parents, you know, and um, our desire for love, you know, our habits that we can't break, and we keep saying we want to change, and we want to stop doing XYZ, and then we keep going back to bring all that shit, bring your humanity, you know. That's what this is for. That's what this whole practice and this place is for, is to become more aware of that stuff and to help heal it and move forward from it and grow from it. And you know, we have the crazy thing too is like with the psychedelic stuff for me, you know, it's, and this is yoga too, it's the realization that we have a subconscious. It's the realization that there's literally shit we are not aware of. And therefore we can't fix it, we can't process it, we can't confront it, because it's literally out of our conscious realm. And that's what psychedelics help with. They open up our subconscious, and then things come into our field of awareness, and we can start to confront it and process it. And that's what happened to me. The first time I ever did LSD, July 23rd, 2020, in my childhood bedroom, I did it, and it was amazing. And I came out of that first experience, and I told my friend, I was like, dude, that was crazy. I'm pretty sure I was molested as a kid. And that set off these last 6 years of like really deep, hard work to confront that pain and to confront the abuse. And I'm still not like out of the woods. I deal with it every single day. You know, aligned with that, or parallel to that, I had this Kundalini energy awakening back in right before that in February 2020, and that's been rising up my body and doing what Kundalini does and clearing my blockages and forcing me to face my pain and cry and throw up and, you know, scream and go talk to, yell at my parent, you know, my parents, and all the shit that I kept buried. Like, it's what the process is. And so it's not fucking easy. You know, yoga's not like you come and you fucking do yoga for an hour and then you have brunch and you go get wasted, and like, I'm down, you know, we'll do that sometimes. That's cool, you know, but like, it's not that about all these images we see on Instagram and, you know, on the internet. It's not that. It's hard work, man. It's like you come and you move and you breathe in a silent room and you start to move energy through your body and you start to calm your mind. And that's the thing. When we calm our mind and we calm our thoughts, all the shit that's buried underneath our rational mind starts to come into awareness. And that's when shit gets hard. Because it's like, oh, fuck, I have to deal with this pain. I have to deal with this sadness, this fear, this anger. I have to confront these things and allow myself to feel them, to cry, to talk to someone, to be vulnerable with someone, to have someone listen to my story about whatever it is, you know? And so that's what yoga is, and that's what it is here. And it's not about like what walk of life you come from or what you are. It's, are you ready to do this practice? Do you want to do this practice? Are you ready to, you know, are you ready to change and be better, you know, and evolve? And that's the only thing. It's like the desire to do the practice. Everything else doesn't matter. Like, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. If you're, you know, a man, a woman, you know, gay, straight, you know, I don't care your ethnicity, you know, your income level, you know, if you're questioning your sexual identity, if you're whatever, if you're a banker, if you're a musician, an artist, a fireman, right? It's like, these are all shallow level identifications that the human ego does to keep us separated and to like put us in tribes and groups and then create differences. And of course we're different. And of course there's diversity. And of course there's injustice. And of course there's, you know, prejudice and bias and historical, political, and economic frameworks that have been terrible for minority groups. All that exists. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I'm not saying there's not people that, you know, haven't had as much privilege as other people. I'm not saying that. I get all that. We can talk about all that. But yoga is your own individual consciousness. You come here to get out of all that headspace for a bit and come into your own self. See if you can understand your own self first before going out into the world and trying to change all these things that are so massively complicated and so massively out of our control. Like, take the courage to look at your own self in the mirror first and be like, why am I not happy? What is my own shit? You know, where are my shortcomings? What can I work on to be a better son, you know, father, brother, friend, whatever it is? That's what yoga is to me. It's a time to come in and work on ourselves individually, and we do it in community, and we can discuss and we can talk and we can move. But like, yeah, I really don't give a fuck who you are or where you're from or what your story is, or like, you know, and I mean that in a good way. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. Yoga is for anyone that wants to practice it. And I do give a fuck about the people that come here deeply, because I've been through some really dark times, and yoga and the spiritual journey has changed my life. And, you know, it's not about being pure. It's not about being, you know, holy. It's not about I'm just this like joyful, blissful person now that like knows I'm God and everything is. No, it's like I'm a fucking human. And the beauty of the healing journey for me is I've become more human. Like, I've gone through those phases where I'm like, I'm this like, you know, spiritual person now with mala beads on my wrists and, you know, whatever stereotypical vegan for a while and all this shit. And it didn't work for me. And the more I heal, the more I've healed my shit, the more I've just come back to myself. I've come back to my little 7-year-old Shawnee Moore, fun, loving, jumping around, sensitive, you know, emotional kid that was just happy and free and creative. And that's what I think God is. And we're going to go through tough times, and we're going to have darkness, and we're going to have struggle, and we're going to have total, you know, breakdowns, all that shit. And that's where God is in that too. God is underneath that. God is there as the foundational loving awareness of our existence. And we're tied to that. We're connected to that, but we're humans, and we will be separated, and we'll continue to forget that we're that, and we'll walk our journeys. And on our best days, we'll just know it. We'll know we're connected, and we'll know we're aligned with our souls and what our journeys are and what we're doing. And on our bad days, we'll cry, you know, and we'll feel lost, and we'll feel in doubt, and we'll go to the bar and we'll drink too much sometimes, you know, like that's what life is. So, yeah, man. It's not an easy journey. If you're taking it seriously, like it's not always enjoyable, but it's really, really meaningful. It's really impactful. It's really transformative. And, you know, these poses and the physical practice we do here is just a very small piece of it. Like, once you start walking the path, your whole life will change in terms of, you know, your creativity, your art, your behaviors, your habits, your partners, you know, the way you love people, the way you accept love for yourself, the things you accept for yourself and what you're not willing to accept anymore, your standards of, you know, living, that all changes. It's beautiful. So that's my first video about what the fuck yoga is. Come practice.